Well. So it would seem that the Biden administration is finally coming to reality. It seems. And what I mean by that is the following, and you'll get the idea once I read the title of this article from Insider. Biden officials worry their Russia sanctions were so powerful, they also brought economic suffering to the U.S. You know why this is funny? It's not funny that Americans, including myself, of course, are suffering as a result of the sanction program, which is basically another way of saying economic warfare that's attributing to the problems that we're having here at home and making them worse. It's funny because in the beginning, they were so gung-ho and everything was, we're going to isolate the Russians. But let me just get into this article and then I'll kind of break it down. So officials in President Joe Biden's administration are acknowledging that their sanctions on Russia inadvertently brought economic suffering on the U.S., Bloomberg reported. Following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the U.S. banned Russian imports, forbade U.S. companies from doing business with Russian entitles, and sanctioned dozens of individuals. At the same time, the Biden administration predicted that the impact of those sanctions on the U.S. would be minimal if it could ensure they didn't affect U.S. food and energy security, Bloomberg reported. However, rising energy and food costs in the U.S. have become two of the main drivers of inflation, which hit a 40-year high this month. According to Bloomberg, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen privately believes the spike in prices is in part a result of what the outlet called unexpected self-sanctioning, referring to the U.S. companies abandoning Russia entirely to minimize the risk of violating U.S. regulations. Yellen said on June the 7th that she was wrong to say inflationary pressures would pass. The White House did not immediately respond to insiders' request for comment. In an attempt to combat economic uncertainty, the Biden administration is now quietly encouraging some U.S. businesses in agricultural and shipping sphere to buy and carry more Russian fertilizer, Bloomberg reported. In late May, the Treasury Department also extended a license so that U.S. companies could continue to do business with Russia until September the 30th, as long as it was not with sanctioned entities, so that the U.S. could continue to receive taxes, fees, and import duties. Some Biden administration officials also worry that sanctions on Russia aren't stopping the invasion of Ukraine and are instead exacerbating inflation, worsening food security, and punishing ordinary Russians. Wow. I think I want to read that last paragraph once more. Some Biden administration officials also worry that sanctions on Russia aren't stopping the invasion of Ukraine and are instead exacerbating inflation, worsening food security, and punishing ordinary Russians. There's so much to say, but I'll try to be brief. Wasn't it Joe Biden, like a month ago or several weeks? He was at some, thing, some kind of forum with world leaders, because they all have to stand strong. By world leaders, I mean the West. They all have to stand strong with Ukraine against Putin and Russia, the new evil, right? He said out of his own mouth, yes, there's going to be a food shortage, but this is a price we're willing to pay for Ukraine. Yes, prices are going to get higher, but this is a price we're willing to pay for Ukraine. This came out of the man's mouth. This came out of all the liberals' mouth on social media and on the news and whatever. This is what they've been saying. They're willing to pay these prices for Ukraine. But guess what? The prices are too high now. The stakes are too high now. And Americans aren't so gung-ho anymore on this whole thing. And they're looking around going, well, wait a minute. Why are we suffering now? They can't take it. It's too much. You've whacked them with a pandemic. You didn't secure them throughout the pandemic. They've suffered another economic crash, the worst since the Great Depression. And now you hit them with an inflation paired with food shortage. I mean, it's only so much the American population can take. And they're looking at political disaster, and now they're sitting around twiddling their thumbs going, maybe it wasn't such a good idea to do what we've done. This is a perfect encapsulation of the decline of the American empire. not only in recent years or decades, but in recent months and weeks through this entire Ukraine-Russia debacle. You know, it's like only one narrative can be parroted, and anybody that deviates from that is wrong. You're a Kremlin agent. You're all the rest of it. I remember when this first happened, and myself, as well as many other people that know much more than me, were saying that, you know, this sanction program isn't good. And we were pointing out that sanctions, like, you can't expect sanctions to do something that they've never done. They've never done what Joe Biden and everybody else were saying that they were going to do. Like, they say that they worry that the sanctions in Russia aren't stopping the invasion of Ukraine. Well, yeah. Want to know how we know that? They're still in Ukraine. I mean, this is amazing here. It's astounding what's happening here. And by the way, we sanctioned Vladimir Putin when he went into Crimea. Did that stop him from going into Ukraine? No. And after he went in Ukraine, we sanctioned him some more. I mean, what's going on here? And on the subject of sanctions, there's no way to have this insanely calculated, specific sanction program in which it only hurts Putin, or it only hurts this or that politician that we don't like or they don't like. It's incredible what they tried to pull over all of our heads in terms of this economic warfare, which is what it is. When you sanction a behemoth like Russia, this is the outcome that you get because they're a major player in the world economy. And not only that, these sanctions have actually been helping them to a certain degree. Russia is a very large exporter of oil and gas. You sanction them, the price of energy, of oil and gas go up, they get more money. I think the number is somewhere around $300 billion they're expected to rake in this year due to oil exports. That's more money they can use on the war in Ukraine. Who's really winning here? Definitely not the United States of America. And what the media has been telling us this entire time is that America and Ukraine are winning this war. And it's only a matter of time before Russia loses and Putin is forced out of power. That's the only narrative you get from American national media and from the current ruling administration. And you don't get anything else. But, you know, now things are kind of starting to come to a head and everybody's sitting around, you know, twiddling their thumbs, trying to figure out what to do. But it is, in fact, too late to figure out what to do. We had a chance and we've squandered it. But this is where we are. This is absolutely incredible. This epiphany. And what I also like, what I've seen is that you also have people that are coming out kind of, you know, yeah, the sanctions are bad. We said it. When these are some of the same people that were saying things like, we have to sanction as a matter of principle. Of course we have to. Yeah, we have to sanction him because he invaded a country. You know who else invades countries? America. Yeah. The United States of America. Who sanctioned America when we went into Iraq or Afghanistan or fill in the blank? I mean, the military expeditions that we've embarked on is too long of a list to sit here and go over. So for the states to feel like they can sanction someone for carrying out a policy that they disagree with, my God, who's going to sanction the U.S. for aiding in the Yemen disaster with Saudi Arabia? I mean, these are questions that have no answers. But this is just the latest. I mean, my God. Seemingly, the Biden administration has come back to reality just a little bit. But I doubt that their policy will change. And I also doubt that anything will be done with this new information.